want to ask you or start out this morning by asking you, have you ever what is normal for you, right? When you go through things and you think about what is normal and you get used to certain things and doing things a certain way, it just becomes normal for us. And then when that normal changes, then it's hard, it's surprising to me how quickly normal can be different. And here's what I mean, right? This week, we're at camp with our students, and we stayed at this place in Georgia, which I believe is still stuck in 1972. And it's still stuck in 1972. It's a great place, small, love it. But when you walked into the room and you saw the comforter or the bedspread that was on the bed, you're like, they haven't upgraded this place since 1970. And it was great to our surprise when we walked in and we had 4 guys in one room and 3 guys in the other room, and there were 2 double beds in each room. And so the look on the boys' face were great. I'm like, I don't know about y'all, but I get my own bed, so y'all figure it out. And so it worked out good. And so anyways, but we get there, the first night we traveled all day Sunday and traveled most of Monday, and we kind of get there Monday and we get settled in, and Joseph Hodges was my roommate, and so Joseph said, man, I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm like, all right. And so I hear him go in the shower, and he goes in there, and he comes out, and he's like, we got a problem. I'm like, what? And he goes, we don't have any hot water in our room. And a first world problem, I know, right? But if you think about it, nobody really just takes a cold shower on purpose every single night. And I'm like, all right, I'm not taking cold showers all week. Like, we got to figure this out. We'll call maintenance, or we'll figure out what we can do. And so when it was my turn later that day or that next morning, I decided I'm going to take a shower in the morning. And I walk into our bathroom, which is very small. If you've ever been in a dorm room, right? It's like one toilet and a shower that's about this big, enough to stand and kind of do this, right? And so I pull the shower curtain back, and the shower head, I'm kind of tall, right? 6 foot, 6'1". I pull back the shower curtain, and literally the shower head is like right here. I'm like, I know Joseph's short, but I still don't know how, not short, but he's not as tall as me, and I don't know how he's going to take a shower. And I just stood there for a minute, and I'm staring at this thing like, how am I supposed to make this happen? Like, this is not going to work for me, right? I got to figure this thing out. And so I turn it on, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to turn the hot water all the way to the left and just see what happens. And so I turn it on, and I wait like 5 minutes, and finally the water heats up a little bit, but the water's coming out with like one little stream, like it's just like, I'm like, this is not going to work. And so I get in the shower, and the shower head's hit me in the belly button. And so I'm standing there, and I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to take a shower, and all week long, and then you would be there, and the water was either scalding hot, right? Or it would just go cold all of a sudden. So you'd be like, oh, this is pretty good. And then, holy cow, it's really cold or really hot, right? One time Joseph screamed, I thought he was being murdered. And so we're trying to figure it out, right? So we get home late Friday night, and I get up Saturday. I'm not taking a shower Friday. I'm exhausted. I just want to go to bed. And I get up Saturday morning in my own house, in my own bathroom, which after being gone for a whole week, it's always nice to climb back in your own bed. And so I climb in, I go to take a shower in my room, and in my own bathroom, and I'm kind of out of sorts. I'm like, the shower head's up here. It's got plenty of water. There's plenty of pressure. Like, I didn't know how to take a shower in my own shower because my normal had changed, and the stream of water hit me in the belly button, right? And so I just didn't know what to do. But it was interesting to me of how quickly and how normal our new normal can become. And when I think about church and I think about family, I wonder, what does it look like for us when we think about family and we think about church? Do they go hand in hand? Do they go together? Because when we think about family, right? Most of us, this is my family, right? And all of you know us. But if you were to buy this picture frame, it always has a picture of the beautiful family and the husband and the wife and the boy and the girl, and everybody's smiling, and it's a family picture. And most people would look at our family and say, hey, man, look at that. Kim and Kevin and their 4 beautiful girls, and they're all smiling and they're all happy. But there's this idea that almost like right around 20 to 25% of the families in America right now are really a husband and a wife with their own biological children. Like, the family dynamic that we know has completely changed with stepdads and stepmoms and adoption and all these things. Like, the family dynamic has changed. And you didn't know the story of my family, right? If you didn't know the story of my family, you would think, wow, Cassie and Leslie look like Kim, and Katie and Michaela look like Kevin, and it's pretty cool how God worked that out. But in this family and in this story is a story of adoption, is a story of brokenness, is a story of Kim and I coming together. Cassie and Leslie being 2 years old. Kim coming out of an ugly, nasty, horrible divorce. Kim and I meeting. Cassie and Leslie start calling me dad when they're 3. And I finally had the opportunity when they're 12, I think, 12 or 13, to adopt Cassie and Leslie. Most people don't even know the story. Most of them think that they're our biological children because it's not like we walk around going, we adopted them or I adopted them, because they were already Kim's. 6 years ago, God brings us Katie and Michaela through the foster care system and tells us that we're supposed to adopt them. And so we adopt Katie and Michaela 3 years ago. They've been with us 6 years. For 3 years, we dealt with the foster care system, which is fun. And we finally get to a point where we adopt them. But if you were just to look at this picture, it looks like the perfect picture family of who we are, and 4 children, and the husband and the wife, and he's a pastor and she works, and kids are in college and all their kids are great, and blah, 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 blah. But it's this picture of a family coming together. And as we think about the importance of family ministry, we think about what it looks like when the church and the family come together. So often in our lives, all we think about is we want, as a church, we want families to look the way that we tell them they're supposed to look. But what we don't do is we don't build a bridge to the families of where they're currently at. And we walked through camp this week, and God did some amazing things in the lives of our students. Like, I've never seen so many tears in my entire life, right? Like, one of the girls was just fully dehydrated to the point that she had to go to the hospital. And the joke was, they didn't know if we knew she was okay, that she just cried too much. And that's why she was dehydrated, right? But God did some amazing things in the life of our teenagers this week at camp. But they come with baggage, and they come with stuff, and they come with pressures, and it's different than when I was a kid. Like, I don't remember being so pressured, and I don't remember having to be so worthy, and I don't remember looking in the mirror and thinking that I was worthless. Like, I had my issues as a kid, but I don't remember feeling and dealing with the things that these kids feel and deal with today. And when we think about the idea of the family, one of the things that we're going to talk about today is this curriculum or this strategy that we use in both of our children's ministry and our youth ministry and even in our college ministry to a point, called Orange. And what happens in Orange is this idea that when you have the family, which is the red, which represents the heartbeat of who we are and the heartbeat of your family, when you mix red and yellow together, you get what? Orange. And so when we think about the family, and we think about the impact that the family has, and we think about the heartbeat, and we think about red, and what does the family really represent? Because families are broken. I mean, if you're a husband and a wife with your own biological children, and you've been married for a really long time, you are the anomaly, not the normal. And that's amazing, and that's great. But so many kids over all the years of being involved around children's ministry and being involved in youth ministry full front for 10 years, we see all this brokenness and all these kids that are just hurting and just wanting to understand what does it really mean to be part of the family. And most of their issues come from this. It comes from family. And some of them bring it on themselves. I'm not saying that it's us as parents, it's our fault and our problem by the way that we raise our children or by the things that we do. I think we're part of it. I think we have something to do with it at times. These kids are so broken, and when we think about red, and we think about the family, and we think about what the family is and what the family represents, there's this interesting stat with Orange that they talk about all the time, and the idea that most time when we think about church and we think about family, in most churches, not necessarily in CityPlace, but in most churches, your children's ministry and your youth ministry looks like this. Hey, youth pastor guy. Hey, children's pastor guy or lady. It's your job to spiritually guide my kid. You're the youth pastor. You're responsible for them. If they grow spiritually, if they graduate high school and they're spiritually sound, it's because you did a great job. And if they don't, it's because you suck. It's because you didn't do your job as youth pastor. You didn't do your job as children's pastor. You didn't do what you were supposed to. So here's my children. You take them for 1 hour a week and you guide them spiritually. But the stat that Orange throws around in this idea is that as a youth pastor or as a children's pastor or even as a lead pastor, I get you guys, most of you guys, we get you or your children for 1 hour a week on Sundays. If you mix in Wednesdays for our students, maybe 2 hours a week all year long, which equates to 50 hours a week, because not every kid's going to be here on Wednesday night. Not all of you are going to be here every Sunday. So we get your children or your youth probably, even if we were on the being nice and say 60 hours a year, we get your children. But you as parents have 3,000 hours a year with your kids. You spend more time with your children in the car than we do at church. But it's so often we have this mindset of, hey, youth pastor, children's pastor, it's your job to spiritually guide my children. And so when you talk about the family, and then you talk about the church, right? So you have red representing the family, yellow representing the church, because the church is the light of the world. When you mix the church and you mix the family together and you mix red and yellow, you get orange. And we get this idea that if we, as people, as church leaders, and as families can work together to change the lives of children and to change the lives of students, then we can sit here and tell you at CityPlace Church that families really do matter. Because we want to have great family ministry. It's not, in my mind, it's not enough just to have a children's pastor. It's not just enough to have a youth pastor. So I asked Josh, hey dude, will you come and just lead these areas for us? So that you can be directly involved, so that we can have the best children's ministry and the best youth ministry that we can possibly have. And so I have this video that I want you guys to watch so that you can understand this concept a little bit. And then we're going to dive into some scripture that God has for us that He set aside. So orange is something that I've been involved with as youth pastor for a long time. And here's the idea. And here's why I want to kick this series off with it. Because I want you guys as parents, or even if you're not parents, to just understand, or if you're a child, or if you're a teenager, to understand why we want to invest in you, right? Why we want to invest in your kids, why we want to invest in you. Because the idea of if we can figure out and change the normal thought process. I'm talking about this new normal with me and the shower at camp, but talking about this new normal with us thinking about church and thinking about ministry and thinking about way that the family and the church can come together. Because when the family and church come together and we end up with orange, then we have something special. And the goal and the hope is for us to come alongside you and for us to figure out how to work together. If you have children in the K through 5 area, with Cassie every single week, she sends home a God time card. Right? She sends home a God time card so that you can sit down throughout the course of the week and ask your child that's in K through 5 what they learned, what scripture did they talk about, what's happening. There's questions every single day for you to spend 5 minutes at dinner or in the car talking about what they learned this week, so that you as the parent can reinforce what we're trying to teach as the church. Because if we work together, we're going to see lives of children change and lives of students change a lot more than if we just drop them off and say, hey, thanks for watching my kid for an hour. Hopefully that's not the case here, because we have great worship, and hopefully you guys learned something from my messages, so it's not like, man, I got to sit through another service. But my kids sure do love Kid City, right? But the idea is for us to change the normal so that we can work together. And when you think about the idea of family and family mattering, it's interesting when you look at the scriptures. If you have your Bibles today, I want you to turn to the book of Deuteronomy. We're going a little old school today. Go into the book of Deuteronomy, and we're going to be in chapter 6. And in Deuteronomy chapter 6, some of it will be pretty familiar to some of us because we talk about it. You guys have even heard me talk about some of these verses a little bit, even on a weekly basis, as we talk about the way that we follow God and the way that we live God and the things that we do. And so look with me in chapter 6, verse 4, and here's what it says. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart." Most of us, if we've been in church for any period of time, are very familiar with that scripture. That you are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your strength, and with all your soul, and with everything that makes you you. You are to love the Lord your God with everything you got. That if you can do that, that if you can love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might or strength, everything that you have within you, if you can love God that much, then everything in your life is going to be okay. Doesn't mean you're not going to have ups and downs and storms and things are going to come. But here's the thing. We are pushing into God as much as we possibly can because we love Him with everything that makes us us. I mean, everything. With all of your heart and with all of your soul. I mean, your soul is your inner being. It is who you are. It makes you what you are. It makes you everything. And you're loving God with everything that we have. And one of the things that I see in our students, and I even see it in adults sometimes, is that God is a part of our life, but God is not our life. Everything we do isn't filtered through Him. Everything we do isn't, I love God so much that I'm going to do this today. Like, God is part of our life. I go to church, I serve, I'm involved, I read my Bible, I do my devotion, but I got the rest of my life and the rest of my days too, and I get God is part of our life, but He is not our life. And what this verse says is very clearly, love the Lord your God with everything that you are. Everything. All of your heart, all of your soul, all of your might, everything that makes you you, and everything within inside of you, you are to love the Lord your God. So that doesn't mean that He is just a portion of our life, but He is our entire life. Everything we do should funnel through Him. Good, bad, the way we discipline our children, the way everything we do should filter through God. Like most of us, right, are familiar with that verse. Whether you've been in church a long time or not, you've heard that somewhere probably. But let's keep reading. So you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your hearts. Verse 7. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as sign on your hand, that they shall be frontlets between your eyes. So you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your mind, and everything that is within you. And oh, by the way, you should teach your children this. Not like, hey, just drop a nugget of wisdom on them every once in a while. Like, hey, you're going to love God, and we're going to go to church, and this is the way it's going to be. But it says in here, that we should talk of them when we sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. So from the beginning of the day, when we wake up in the morning to the time that we go at night, we should be teaching our children that they are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might, and everything that is within them. This culture, and trying to follow God, and trying to do everything that we can, has got to be one of the most difficult times ever. There's so many distractions and so many things and so much stuff that takes our attention off of God, right? I'm the most guilty person in the room of it, but if everybody would just say, how you doing? Whew, man, I'm busy. I'm so busy. I'm so tired. I got so much going on. I got work, and we got this on the weekend, and we had this on Saturday, and we ran all day Saturday, and we came to church on Sunday. I'm tired, Pastor Kevin, man. We're busy. And it puts us in culture, and it puts us in a time where sometimes it's difficult to say, man, I love the Lord your God with everything that I got, and man, I just serve Him faithfully all day. Everywhere I go, everything I do, and the way that I raise my children, from the time that they wake up to the time they go to sleep, all I'm teaching my kids is, man, you should love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. Everywhere you go, it says, while you sit in your house and while you walk by the way. So on the way to Walmart, teach your kids to love the Lord your God with all their heart, with all their soul. When you go to the park, when you go on vacation, when you're on your way to the grocery store, when you're on your way wherever you're going for a walk around your neighborhood, when you're sitting in your house watching a movie, when you're watching the football game, whatever you're doing, what He's telling us here is that we are to teach our children to love the Lord your God with everything that they are and everything that they have, because if we do that, then things change. With 10 years of doing student ministry, I can't even tell you that most of the students, God is part of their life, but He is not their entire life. Our children are a little bit different because our children follow our lead. Our children that are probably 5th grade and under follow our lead more than we realize. They look at us, they look up to us as parents, they follow our every word. If our mood is good, their mood is good. If our mood is bad, their mood is bad. Whatever it is, they follow our lead. And what he's telling us here is, man, listen, everywhere you go, everything you do, teach your children to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. But here's the deal. That's the family side of it. But as a church, if we teach your children and you to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and what Jesus is, and the power of the resurrection, and the power of the cross, and all that happens, and how Jesus changes lives, and we do that together, man, look out. If we can do that together, it changes everything. Because it's not my job as the pastor of the church or the other pastors that are in the church to say, hey, your kid is messed up. Good luck with that. Right? We'll pray for them, maybe, if I get around to it. I pray from 8 to 8:30 in the morning. I'll pray for them then. Right? It's not your job to come to us and go, man, my kid is messed up. Can you help me? Yes, we can. Together. So that we have red, we have yellow, we mix that together, it's orange. Everything we do through this strategy of orange in our family ministry is to put a child or to put an adult or a high school student or a middle school student in the life of our kids. It's age appropriate. We got a high school student right now, Sam, serving alongside Cassie, leading kids in small group. He's 15 years old. In nursery, we could probably have a middle school student helping. We have in the past having middle school students helping Lindsay and those people that work in the nursery. Come into youth, we have college students who help serve our students. All of our students from Southeastern that will be back in about 3 weeks, they all want to help in our youth program because they're giving back. We have adults who help our college students. Do you see how this works? Is that you get filled and you get served. You're getting your tank filled, and then you're turning around and going and serving other people that you can give back to. And we're not going to have a middle school student in our college ministry trying to love on a college student. But why can't we have a 12 or 13-year-old girl who loves babies go help in the nursery and love on kids? Why can't we have a high school student go in and lead a small group? Nobody understands what your 8-year-old is going through than the 15-year-old who just walked through it. As adults, man, we think we got it. Like, man, I know. And let me tell you what happened when I was young. That was 50 years ago. You don't understand. But nobody understands what the 8-year-old's going through than the 15-year-old who just walked through it a few years ago. You serve in the areas that you can serve because when we work together, because family matters. And I don't want to just hold up this picture perfect of what the family should look like and go, every family needs to look like this. Everybody needs to have a smile on their face, and everybody needs to smile for the picture that they took. I want to do a really good job of building a bridge to where families are at. A few weeks ago, we had a block party in this community, or a couple months ago, we had a block party. And my takeaway from that is that there's a lot of hurting people within a half-a-mile radius across the street from us. Families that are broken, families that are hurting, families that need to be loved on, families that need the light, the yellow, the light that the church offers. We can figure out together how to reach this community. We can figure out together with us in here how to work together to love on our children, to love on our students, then man, it changes everything. And so you sit back and go, well, I'm single. I don't have any kids. This doesn't really apply to me. It's not true. Why can't you serve and give back in some of those areas? Why can't you say, man, I'd love to help in youth. I'd love to help in this area. I'd love to help in that. Josh said, hey, listen, you need help? You need help. Like, get connected and help serve. So we walk away from camp this past week. And we joke about the tears, and we joke about all the walls and things that God broke down. But God did some really big things this week in the lives of some of our students. Every once in a while, you just get caught up in the rut of doing ministry. Sometimes you just go into the motions of, man, we got Sunday, and we got to make sure the worship's good, and we got to put videos together, and I got to write a sermon, and we got to do all this stuff. And every once in a while, you just need a really good reminder of why you do what you do. Why you love the way that you love. Why you give the way that you give. Why you give of your time. Why you should love on those people around us. We had 2 kids this week at camp that went, man, I didn't want to come. I didn't want to come to camp. Because I've been running away from God, and I've been running, and I just didn't know. I know I'm not where I need to be with God, and I knew if I came to camp, God would catch me. And I didn't want to come. And I came. Caught. Right? And he caught me. It's like a 90-hour week to go to camp. You're up at 6, you go to bed at 2 every night, and you drive 12 hours to get there. Who does that, right? But you hear all these kids. Leslie, kids back, she's been doing it for 3 straight months since May, right? Alongside with Student Life. Every single week, but it's this great reminder of why we do what we do when we see the walls come down. When we know that God has caught the heart of a student. And that lives change. And the same thing happened at Camp Kid Jam back in June when we took our younger kids from 3rd to 5th grade. God catches kids at camp, and that's the reason why we do what we do. But we can't, if we could live in camp every week, it'd be great. But the reminder to the students that, hey, the same God that you worship at camp is the same God that's in CityPlace Church on Sunday. Amazing concept, right? But here's what I wanted to do for just a minute. I've asked 2 of our junior and senior students to come up and just share very briefly with you just about what God did this week in their lives so that you can hear a testimony of that. And then I have one more verse and we're going to wrap this up. Aaron, Joseph, you guys.